Guys, I may have been wrong about Mike White.
Inside, and a beauty! Hall running free! Brees Hall inside the 10! He's gonna score!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and today's video, we're going to be talking about Mike White. What are the possibilities of him being a starter for the New York Jets long term? What is the precedent kind of in the NFL right now about players taken as late as Mike White? And what this system does and all of that stuff, and how not only Mike White can benefit from being the starting quarterback, but Zach Wilson can as well. Let's hop into all of that information in a second. But before we do that, guys, if you want to become a member of Tigo Slavia and become a citizen and get a bunch of cool benefits for less than a cup of coffee a month, you can subscribe to the Patreon. It really helps the channel, and we're trying to grow and develop and do cool things like giveaways. So while you're down there in the description and hitting the merch link, my Twitter page to go follow me and all of that stuff, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we're doing a 2,000 subscriber giveaway. We're going to be giving away a jersey of whatever team you want, whatever player you want. We're going to get you a jersey from that player shipped directly to you thanks to the channel, and we're trying to hit that by the new year. I would love to hit 2,000 subscribers before January 1st. I think that would be really, really cool in the first 6 months of my channel to be able to hit 2,000 subscribers. None of this would have been possible without your guys' support. But enough of that. Let's hop right into today's video, and we're going to be talking about, like I said, Mike White. Mike White is starting for the New York Jets, obviously, and a big caveat that a lot of people are putting on Mike White is that he's a fifth-round pick, right? Is that he's pick 171, and there's a lot of people concerned, right? Well, if he was pick 171, what does that mean about his ceiling and his floor and all of this stuff, and what does that mean about this team and its potential and blah, 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 and whatever, right? And so I wanted to look around the NFL. I wanted to see what are some of the players that are in a similar range to Mike White when it comes to, draft pedigree and what that means for Mike White, Zach Wilson, and the future of this team. So I think the lowest drafted starting quarterback, and I mean truly starting quarterback, I'm not going to mention obviously like Trevor Siemian, who was picked 250, right, for the Bears, because we know that Justin Fields is their starter. He's just hurt, is obviously going to have to be Tom Brady at 199. I'm not saying Mike White is Tom Brady. That's why I don't even want to have this conversation, right? But you got to bench it. 199, Tom Brady is the lowest drafted starting quarterback in the NFL right now. And then the second lowest would be Mike White at 171 out of Western Kentucky. Now, the next guy that's in a very similar-ish range is a guy that is paid like an elite quarterback, even though he's not an elite quarterback, but his football team is constantly in the conversation. They're constantly in the mix for the playoffs, and that's Dak Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys. He was taken out of Mississippi State at 135. And while obviously that's a little bit further above what, Mike White is, the reality is that Dak Prescott had a very similar kind of expectation, low floor, low ceiling, guy who's going to just kind of be on time and accurate, and he's not an elite quarterback, and he doesn't possess any elite traits, but Dallas has built an incredible team around him. They've built a super stout defense, and they've given him the weapons to just kind of live within the system and to do successful things. And Dallas is in the NFC is probably one of the Super Bowl favorite teams. They're definitely going to go to the playoffs this year, and they're doing it without a first-round quarterback. It's kind of telling, right? The system kind of dictates what a quarterback can do. The other quarterback that comes to mind when it comes to a guy that isn't super highly drafted has to be Kirk Cousins out of Minnesota. He was drafted at 102 overall out of Michigan State. And it's another example of, a guy that isn't drafted that highly, doesn't have a super high ceiling, but lives and dies within the system. He's obviously the biggest stopper of Minnesota's offense when it comes to their potential is Kirk Cousins, but Minnesota has 9 wins on the season, and they are going to win their division, and they should be considered a Super Bowl favorite team. And a lot of that comes from Kirk Cousins just being solid. Now, what does this mean for Mike White? Obviously, our system is super quarterback friendly. It's super easy to go through your reads and your progression, and as long as you are on time, accurate, and decisive with the football, it gives you the system kind of just plays itself, and you just have to make the easy read. Now, unfortunately, Zach wasn't doing that. Now, what does this mean for Mike White moving forward? Well, I think this means that Mike White can legitimately be a starter for the rest of this year, maybe the rest of next year, and we can still have a high-level football team. Now, what does that mean for Zach Wilson? One of the biggest concerns I had with Zach Wilson was the fact that he came from a lower competition school and that he might need time to develop in the NFL. And we weren't going to be able to give him that. We were going to need him to start right away. Now, Zach Wilson was taken at number 2 overall for a reason. He has elite athletic traits. He has an elite arm. He is an athlete and gives you a net positive when he scrambles out of the pocket. He's a good athlete. He's got a crap ton of moxie. You know, he has a lot of these incredible physical traits that just Mike White doesn't have and that you want your quarterback to have, right? But he's messing up on the easy things, and he's not getting the easy things done because I feel like he's failing to read and process defenses at a high enough level to trust in his athletic ability. So he's trying to force things, and he's playing scared. Now, a lot of people are ready to give up on Zach Wilson, and I'm not. Just because we're starting Mike White doesn't mean that we have to give up on Zach Wilson. If we look at quarterbacks in the league that have sat in the past, they've done successful. And there are quarterbacks that, you know, got benched and did those things and came back and they were good quarterbacks. I think a great example of that is going to be Tua Tagovailoa. He was benched if the wind was blowing in the wrong direction for Ryan Fitzpatrick in year 2 all of the time. You know, him sitting isn't a bad thing. It's going to give him more time to develop and learn, and he's not going anywhere. We control his rights. It's not like he can request a trade because who's going to want to trade for Zach Wilson right now? He sits, and if he sits behind Mike White and he can learn, and then in a year or 2 he comes back and plays at a high level, it's not a wasted pick. We're still going to have our quarterback. He's not going to be able to ask for a massive extension or anything like that, so we're still going to have a quarterback on a cost control contract. No matter what happens, whether Mike White's the starter for the next couple of games and Zach comes back, whether Zach's the starter and Mike White's not in, whether Zach sits for the rest of this year and all of next year before we bring him in to truly evaluate him before we have to punch him to the curb or take a new quarterback. No matter what happens at the quarterback position, we're okay. Our system is better than the quarterback, and we've got weapons at every level of our offense to support whoever is under center, whether it's Mike White or Zach Wilson. And so my concern that I had about Mike White starting has gone out the window. You know what? Start Mike White for the rest of the year and for the playoffs and all of next year for all I care. It gives us an opportunity to truly develop Zach Wilson and have him sit and not have all of this pressure put up on him. Have a true quarterback competition, and if Mike White comes out the winner, who cares? We've still got Garrett Wilson. We've still got Elijah Moore. We've still got all of these incredible athletes that are Breece Hall next year that is going to help this team win games. So I'm not worried about the quarterback position, and I don't think you should either. Guys, let me know in the comment section below what you think. And last but not least, go Jets.